Hi, I'm Aaliyah Woods, co-founder of CommonWealth Urban Farms. This is our beginning gardener video series designed to help you have a successful garden even if you've never planted a seed in your life. So I've been gone the last couple weeks, out of town on vacation, and I'm back now and the garden has just popped. So before we plant some more fall veggies, let's take a look at what we have and what's ready to harvest. First off are our sweet peppers. Look at them, they're gorgeous. Covered in sweet peppers. These are red Marconi, one of my favorite sweet peppers. And boy, are they ready to harvest. So we're gonna harvest some for us and for my neighbors right now. So red bell peppers are simply green bell peppers that have matured. A lot of times people think those are different varieties, red and green, but they're not. A green bell pepper, when it matures, will turn red or yellow or orange or purple, depending on the variety. Green bell peppers are simply immature red bell peppers, and they're less sweet. That's why green bell peppers are less sweet than red sweet peppers. If you like them green, you can pick them at that stage. I like them sweeter, so I wait till they turn. And we've got tons of shishito peppers too, and those often are harvested green. Although in this case, we're going to harvest them red as well because we've got so many of them. I grilled some the other night, just roasted them in a cast iron skillet, sprinkle a little salt on top. Fantastic, absolutely fantastic. All right, now for greens, this is the arugula that we seeded almost exactly a month ago. So you can see it's done really well. Arugula is one of those crops that 9 times out of 10 will do well, even in less than ideal circumstances. So we're going to treat this as a cut and come again crop, which means we'll cut the leaves a little bit above the growing tip. So you can kind of see that. It's maybe 2 inches, 3 inches above the soil. And it will grow back, usually within a week or two at this time of year. It grows back very quickly. It's more tender at the baby stage, and I like it that way. All right, and here we have the head lettuce that we transplanted right about a month ago. So it really grew while I was gone. When we first transplanted it, you might remember they were a little pitiful looking seedlings. A week later, they looked a lot better, and here, 4 weeks from transplanting, they are actually a little bit over mature. So you can see this one got spindly and probably didn't get enough light. It turned into mostly stalk. So we can still eat the leaves, but that isn't what we were aiming for. This one looks the best, but even it is a little bit past prime. It would have been better if I had harvested this probably a week ago when I wasn't here. We got a little bit of tip damage on the leaves too, but this is a butter crunch, and I bet the eating quality will still be good enough. And then here's another one. We're still getting some of that tip damage, the leaf damage. We'll cut that one off too. So these were not growing as cut and come again. We're just growing them for a one cut harvest. So we'll go ahead and do that. They were intended to be mini heads because we're spacing them so close together. We're not going to get full-size heads. So I'm going to just pull out the roots now, and we can plant something else here in a few minutes. All right, so I've got lettuce and arugula for salad tonight. The purple basil is as beautiful as ever. We just saw some honeybees visiting it. Parsley's getting a little crowded out, but it's still we're getting some parsley over here. Swiss chard looks great. We've got some leaf damage on that from well, here's a grasshopper, for example, enjoying the chard along with us. And then here's our broccoli. So let's take a look at the broccoli now. You can see while I was gone that somebody was mighty happy eating these leaves. In fact, here's one of the culprits. So that is a little cabbage looper, or that little cute little green caterpillar. And we're going to now squish it. Turn your head if you don't want to see it. There it goes. Yesterday I came over and found a couple of really large ones who obviously had already eaten quite a bit of leaf. And there's another one I just spotted earlier. Where is it on these leaves? They're really, there it is. They're really hard to see. You kind of have to train your eye. See that one right there? Okay, here goes. Squish. Yuck. We could use BT, as we discussed a few weeks ago, and that will also kill any caterpillars it comes into contact with. Which is great if you're doing multiple plants. But for a small planting like this with just 2 plants, it's just as easy really to take care of it manually just by finding the caterpillars and squishing them. The only thing is you have to really look for them because they are almost exactly the same color as the leaf of the broccoli. So they often will be in the center of the plant where the new leaves are, and you might check the bottom of the leaves as well as the top and the stems. If you see this kind of damage, it means they've been there. So they're there someplace, just keep looking. I've also seen, just a few minutes ago, seen one of the little cabbage moths flying around, wanting to land here and lay some more eggs, I think. So even if you go through it and check for the caterpillars, you have to keep doing it. Once is not enough. Twice is not enough. 3 times is not enough. Do it continually. But this plant will be fine. It's going to grow back. The damage was not that extensive. There's still some leaves to photosynthesize, and I think it'll pull through just fine. I also want to show you our hyacinth bean, which should be blooming right now. So the vines look fantastic, lush, covering the arbor, the trellis here, which is just what I wanted, to have a shaded little space here. But they're not flowering yet, and I'm not sure why that is. It could be that they don't get 100% full sun, although it gets quite a bit of sun. It could be that we planted them kind of late, or it could be some other reasons that I have no idea. But I do want to show you what it looks like when they are blooming. If we have a long enough fall growing period, I think they will still bloom, but they should have been blooming a month ago or 2 months ago. So here, let me show you the actual flowers. So this is what hyacinth bean is supposed to look like. Fantastic, right? Oh my God, it's so beautiful. All those flowers, and then the flowers turn into these pods, which are also very ornamental. Just love it. Okay, so now let's take a sad look at what we planted 3 weeks ago. When we started this beginning gardening video series, I really wanted to be honest and to include mistakes, because everybody makes mistakes, and to have this perfect video series where everything goes beautifully and there's never any problems would be like depressing for anybody watching it who actually has problems. So, not to worry, we've had plenty of our own problems and failures. My philosophy on failures in the garden is just go plant something again. Just plant and plant and plant and plant, and some of them are going to work. So here's one that didn't. This is where we planted lettuce 3 weeks ago, and we got like maybe 1 seed germinating, maybe not that much. So I have 2 theories on that. One is that at some point it dried out, although my faithful water assures me that it didn't. But the theory that I most believe in is that lettuce actually likes cooler soil to germinate in. A lot of seeds, like kale, will germinate perfectly happily at 80-degree soil. Lettuce will not. It likes cooler soil. So when we planted this 3 weeks ago, it was early September, and I thought, oh, it's going to cool off here just any old day now. Ha! It did not. It stayed quite warm for quite a while after that. So I think that's probably what happened, is the lettuce seed just wasn't happy and it didn't germinate. We also failed on the radish seed, and radish is like foolproof. Radish seed always comes up, even under far less than ideal circumstances. I see 1 out of how many seeds should we plant? So I don't have an explanation for that. Maybe the seed was old and it just wasn't viable anymore. The other thing we planted was kale, and we do have a few little kale seedlings that are coming up here. They're struggling. They're not getting enough sun. So when we planted them, I thought, well, they're kind of in the shade. That's good while they germinate, but they are going to need more sun. We'll cut some other things back when they get big enough. Well, they're big enough. It's time. There's not actually anything here I want to cut back, but because they're in pots, we can move them. So we're going to do that. So I'm on the south side of this pot right now, and I'm just going to turn it around. So now the kale is planting south, and it's not getting shaded by the pepper plants. These peppers will continue producing until it freezes. They'll slow down quite a bit as we get farther into the fall. Today is the last day of September. Cool weather is supposed to, cross my fingers, arrive later this week, and that plus decreasing day length will slow down the maturation process, the ripening process of the peppers. But there's so many peppers still that are green or small that I think we'll leave them be and get a few more pepper harvests out of it yet. So now these kale, little poor spindly kale seedlings, they should do better. I'm also going to plant a few kale seeds in small pots so that they can spend the next few weeks germinating and growing bigger, get ready to be transplant size. So by the time we take out these pepper plants, probably by the end of October, the kale seedlings will be ready to pop in to fill out that little space over there. Now let's do the same thing for our lettuce bed. I'm going to plant lettuce right here next to this basil. So I'm going to move the basil pot until the lettuce patch is now facing south with the tall stuff behind it where it won't get shaded. And lastly, this pot where we just pulled out the head lettuce, we're going to plant this one too, and it is already in the sun. So the thing I want to plant in this pot are some Chinese cabbage seedlings that I started about a month ago. When we did our video on starting seedlings, maybe you started some then too. Maybe you have some seedlings that are ready to transplant. If you don't, you might find some locally. We actually have some of these available for sale. So I'm going to pop these two babies in right now. Gently loosen them out of the pot. Put them in there, just barely cover with soil. And here we go. Now you can see that these Chinese cabbage, which are members of the cabbage family or the brassica family, they too have gotten eaten up by cabbage worms while I was gone, enjoying myself on vacation. These poor plants have suffered a bit. I'm going to pull off the outer leaves that are a little peaked looking anyways. And you can see the newest leaves are doing really nicely and have gotten very little damage, or less damage anyways. So I'll keep an eye on these, and if I see some of those little cabbage looper worms, I'll squish them and let the plants grow. Now I'm going to take advantage of this open space right here and here to try again on radish seed. So I've got a different package of radish seed that I hope is still viable. It should be. This is from 2018, so it's a year old, but that's not bad for radish seed. Tends to have a longer shelf life than some seeds. So we'll drop some seeds in here. Again, radish seeds I'm trying to space at about an inch apart. Okay, and then just barely cover them with a bit of soil. Cover twice the thickness of the seed itself. And we'll put some straw on to help retain moisture and moderate swings in soil temperature. Yeah. Okay, there we go. And then we'll water these in just a minute here. Now for the lettuce, I'm going to move all this nice thick straw away that we use to mulch the basil. Now that we're on the verge of it not being so hot, the basil isn't going to need so much mulch. I'm going to add some compost. You can see how much the soil has settled. I think we filled this bed at the very beginning of the season in the spring, and we filled it to the top and it's settled down this much. So I'm going to add a little more compost than usual because I really do want the soil level to be a little higher than that. And I want to add a little bit more actually. Our beautiful homegrown worm compost. Thank you, worms. Work that in with the soil, mix it in a bit. All right, and then smooth it off. Now, as I said, lettuce seed prefers cooler temperatures to germinate. I've got a package of lettuce seed here. I've been storing this in the refrigerator. So that's one trick that you can use to get better germination on your lettuce seed, is to keep it cool before you plant. It's in the 80s right now. A little warmer than I wish it was, but it's cooling down this week. So I'm going to go ahead and plant now. If you're in Oklahoma City and watching this, you might wait 2 more days until we actually get that cooler weather in. And just sprinkle some seed on top. Just like that. Not too much seed. It's really easy to overplant. All right, and then I'm going to take a little bit more soil and just barely cover it up. And then a bit of straw on top. Keep it from drying out so fast. All right, and hopefully we'll have better luck on this lettuce planting than we did the last time. All right, so that's the next run on our fall garden. Tune in next week and you'll see what germinated and what didn't. In the meantime, thanks for watching and happy gardening.